Okay, and we're live. So today I started a bit earlier than I should otherwise, because I don't really have any reference material. So we're gonna mostly freestyle today, and we'll see where that leads us. So yeah, I just wanted to give myself some extra time to get everything started and get rolling. So let me just quickly explain what we're gonna be doing today. For February we got sign assignment, so we're doing some signs, or at least one, and we'll see how long this takes us. So this is gonna be like an arrow sign that people can use in their games to put in on the wall and point into different directions, and hopefully we'll also animate it, so yeah, it's not as boring as just a stationary asset. So uh, yeah, let's just start with our base, because that's gonna be like our background, and then we're gonna add some more stuff onto it a bit later. That's also why I wanted to give myself some extra time to figure out the dimensions and whatnot. So I think that the 2x1 blocks should be fine. It's not going to be the biggest sign, it's not going to be the smallest sign, it's just going to be something in between. So yeah, nice little sign. Oh, nice medium sign, let's be let's be correct here. And also today I'm using an extended palette because it just offers some more different colors that we can use, so that should hopefully work out fine. Now let's just start by using the mirrors, so we have everything symmetric from the beginning, and perhaps we could just fill this in and then carve out our final shape. So let's see. I would like to make the corners a bit diagonal, so it's not as boxy as so let's see, 1 to 3, and also let's turn on our nice edges so we can see better what exactly we're doing. And we could do something like this, so it's more circular, or we could just cut it straight off and make it like a perfect diagonal. So I think I like them to be rounded, but let's also just extend this corner a bit out so it's even more rounder than it already is. I guess that's the term. So something like that. Yeah, that should be a decent start, and then we can do our so this is going to be like an outline, which is going to be, let's see, perhaps like 4 voxels thick. So we start on each of the longer parts, and let's see how we want to do it on the inside. Oops, that's the wrong color. So something like this, but so, oh, we got 3 here and we got 4 here. That's why it's asymmetric. I was wondering what was going on here, and perhaps something like this. But nah, this is better because we want to have our edge have like this nice flow. And also, if we extend it like this, I think it doesn't clash as much with the other parts. Okay, and perhaps let's make this one more voxel deep. And okay, it's already full clock where we should start. And it was, I think it was good. We gave ourselves a couple of minutes to figure out this basic shape, so we can proceed faster now. Also, as you might have seen, we have a slight problem because we have mirrored over this axis, and I don't think we want it to be completely symmetric, so this is going to be back side and this is going to be a front side, so we don't have to do the animation on two different planes. Let me just adjust this here so I can see the actual streaming layout. So okay, of course our inside is going to be slightly darker than the border, perhaps even darker, like this, because I want to use like some, I want to use some emissive colors to make it like neon looking sign or something. I have an idea, and we'll see how that goes. So let's just create our base node where I like to start with my project, and let's just add our base to it. And as you can see, we haven't adjusted the pivot point, so let's do this now. And when you're making stuff to be hung up on the wall, it shouldn't be completely centered, but at 0, like at the back side of it, so it fits nicely to the wall. And otherwise this is good. So let's see now. Okay, so this is good. Now let's turn off our second mirror line, and let's just draw the basic shape of our arrow so we can see how big other parts have to be. And I'm not really sure with which color I should go. Perhaps red stands out nicely, so let's try with the red one, and we can change it later if we don't like it. So some darker red. Let's just use this for now, because we can make the pointy tip of the arrow later. So we need to have some margins from the side, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, something like this. This does look like a pretty big arrow. So if we try to do it like so, and then let's delete, well, let's not delete it, just draw over it, I guess. Something like this. Let's see. You should be able to see this sign from pretty far away. I'm just not too sure about this arrow. Perhaps we can make some adjustments to it, like so. I mean, now it looks like a pretty good arrow, though I don't like this part too much, so Let's see what we can do here. Have something like this. Oh well. You just gotta make some compromises sometimes. Perhaps like this. I think this looks pretty good, but nah, it should be too thick everywhere. And we got just 4 here and we got 6 here, so I just try to move everything like 1 voxel to the left, and hopefully everything doesn't crash. So let's save, let's quit, because yeah, I don't know how many issues they have fixed, but it would often crash if you didn't take some precautions, so to say. Okay, so this can be our base arrow. So this is like a turned off version, and we'll add the emissive parts later. So I guess we can also go ahead and just do some highlights and stuff on our outline and everything. So let's just select this color. And let's just paint some of them voxels like so, and then perhaps we can do this. Let's use the other tool so we can actually color 2 of them, or perhaps even 3, so we have some anti-aliasing, I think it's called. So it looks like round, not I mean, if you it can mess up with our perception of things if we don't do it carefully. And I also think I should fill these with a darker shade, right? Would make sense because they're more like shadows. So this is our base color, or our base gray, and let's just turn off our mirroring on the y-axis. Come on. Okay, we're doing it. Awesome. And it already, well, now it can't be rotated, right? Because if you imply that light is coming from the top, and if somebody was to rotate this thingy around, it would look really messed up. So yeah, let's just undo this. Okay, so it has to be symmetric because and also I think it should be, we should also adjust the pivot point, right? Because if somebody rotates it like so, it's just messed up. It shouldn't rotate like that. It should be centered to the middle. So let's put it onto 16, so it stays in one place if somebody was to rotate the sign. So you can see now it points down, and now it points left, up, whatever. And you can, I guess, even make it like so, but they're just right rotated around the y-axis, so it doesn't really do much. And the same thing applies here, because I could do something like this, because it makes sense from our current perspective, but it wouldn't. It would mess stuff up once we try to rotate our asset. So I think I just want to make some darker outline all around it, like so. Now let's do it on the as well. Again, I'm not too happy about how dark these parts are, so we'll probably have to adjust that somehow. So let's see what this looks like. Okay. I'm just gonna pull it up a bit so we can see it better, but again, this is not... I have no idea how that would affect stuff in game, but I think this is the global route, right? So it would be messed up if we don't match up these two later. So yeah, there are some things we should be careful of using, or just so we revert back to how it was supposed to be. So perhaps we can add some of these darker, just small details to make the whole thing look more dynamic, but we kind of avoided these messy parts here and here. So I kind of like this look. At least I don't dislike it, so that's a start. And perhaps we can be a bit more fancy with our colors here, because yeah, these details don't cost us anything. These details, however, do, because we get more faces, but this isn't really problematic for this asset because we have a quite low face count as of now, so we should be fine at least in that aspect. But we can always check that if we want to. I mean, it's... yeah, let's just check it now. Yeah, we got 115, so this is like nothing. Now just tinkering about the idea of making it like so. But then you have this thingy again. So I'm not 100% sure how I wanna keep them here, because they're different on the outside. Let's see. Okay, and if we rotate this, what does this look like? And I think it still looks fine. Just once you get really close to it, it kind of looks wonky, but I think we can survive. Also, I'm trying to figure out how I want to animate this thing, because it should be like there are actually some options what we can do. We can do like an animation going starting here and then moving on to the tip of the arrow, or we can just make some emissive parts that can move like out and inwards, that would like create some flickering effects or something. We have some options and I'm not really sure which way I wanna make it, so let's just make the parts and then we can later decide how we want to animate them. So let's duplicate our base and let's call it like what? Like an arrow base, I guess. very original. And actually what we want to do here is just delete all the stuff that isn't our arrow, and of course our keyboard shortcuts are not working anymore, so let's just move the pivot point a bit, and delete everything else. Okay, outline, and what else we got here? This stuff we can delete, and also we are not gonna make our outline emissive, so we don't need that anymore. Okay, so this is our base arrow, and I think I want to make it 2 voxels thick, so it can be moved a bit more freely, and this doesn't really add any new faces to it, it just makes it thicker, so yeah, that shouldn't really be any kind of a problem. Let's also just readjust our pivot point, or the arrow's pivot point to be precise. And now we got our arrow, and of course we want to split this arrow into multiple parts so we can animate them separately. So definitely one part is gonna be, and it's also like this, if you make many small parts it gives you more control when you try to animate them, but it's a pain in the arse to put them all together, and all the keyframes and everything. So yeah, just because we got quite some time still here, so I'm just gonna make it a bit more difficult for myself than it realistically has to be. So we're gonna make like these smaller parts, and we're gonna assemble them into the tip, and then the other part. So let's just name this arrow tip, and it's basically just gonna be a 2 by 2 by 2 cube, just this part. So let's delete. Oh come on, now nothing's gonna work. This is horrible. Delete this and delete everything except for for one. So this is gonna be one of our arrow nodes, or nodes, like models that are gonna be assembled into the arrow. So perhaps we can start with that now. Let's just create a child node and name it arrow. And then let's see. Let's create another child node, which is going to be called the tip of the arrow, and so that will consist from how many? So we got 4 here and 3 here. Or do these two count as well? So let's say 9. Oh, that's a lot, but whatever. So just T for tip and 0 to start, and let's just move our arrow outwards so we can kind of see what we're doing. Let's move it to the side a bit. Keep it in 0, sure. So we'll create like 2 branches for the upper and lower side, but this doesn't really matter. So let's move this up and 2 to the left, and then we can just duplicate it, name it a unique name, because otherwise we're gonna have some problems with our animations, and then we can just attach it to the previous node, and it actually creates this nice shape already. We don't need other stuff, so duplicate it again, attach, and are we done? No, we need one more, right? So duplicate, and I hope, okay, we duplicated the correct one. because later I saw that we have T2 selected, and if we duplicated that, it would create actually 2 nodes and one wouldn't have a unique name and whatever, so yeah. So this is a base and this is the other stuff, so we can just duplicate this. And now how do we want to do that? We can just rotate it around this axis, like so, and just move it down. Okay, awesome. So we've created our tip, and we shouldn't forget to rename our nodes, so yeah, there's no errors later on, like so. Okay, great. Now we can make like this L shape, which can be used here and here, hopefully. So this is yeah, here is actually a bit thicker, but we can do that with the arrow tip thingy, so yeah. So let's name this arrow L, because it's gonna be L shaped, and that's more or less it. Okay, we need to get our shortcuts going, otherwise everything takes too much time. And like so, like so. Okay, so we got our L shape, and I'm not really sure where I should put the pivot point, to be completely honest. I don't know, maybe something like this, I guess. And I think that the point, the tip, has it centered on 1, so yeah, we're good. But yeah, this can be a bit of a problematic when you try to animate it, because once we move this one out, everything is gonna be out. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Let's see. So we shouldn't nest them, that was a lazy idea. Let's just make them all a child to the tip, because we're gonna actually need that to be like so later on when we try to animate, otherwise it's gonna be a huge pain in the buttock. So this is our 0, that's good, and now we just need to move them all separately into appropriate positions to reassemble our arrow. Also, let's move our tip to the, I guess, starting point of the arrow, and of course now we need to move all the other parts. Now we have the second to last, and I think this is the last one for the top part. And now we just have to assemble the bottom, and also this isn't centered properly, like so. And then we move this one here, and this one here. This, come on. This one here. Okay. So let's save everything. So we don't lose our stuff if something decides to crash. And now let's create another child node, and let's name this like body 0, yeah. And we'll add like first half of the body to it. Create child node, it's gonna be arrow AL0, just using short names so it doesn't take too much time renaming this stuff. This is how it's supposed to look like, right? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, actually, we don't have that problem. We should just make this 6 tall and do it like so. Awesome. So now this looks appropriately. And let's just duplicate it, name it AL1, and then move it to the bottom, rotate it. Oh, we should actually rotate like so. No, that's okay. We need to do some more rotations, I think. Okay. Yeah. Well, we got it oriented into a correct shape, I guess. So now we can do some lines. It's arrow line. Let's see if we can just do this. Come on. We need to move our pivot again. So this and this. Let's see how long this. So 15 should be our middle ground, like so. Trim our volumes, and let's just recenter the pivot point. I think that's correct, and then let's move it to 7, I guess, because if it's halfway, it's just creating more stuff to do. So now we name it line 0, add our line to it. Okay, so let's duplicate it, make it line 1. So this is our body 0, and then let's create our body 1 for the last part of our arrow. So we create line 0, 1, so next is 2, right? And yeah, I guess this can be all for these two, but let's move it like so, duplicate it, line 3 is gonna be the final line, and then just 2 more L shapes and we should hopefully be done. So AL2. Like so. And these are gonna actually overlap a bit, but that isn't really a problem because they're gonna be the same color and everything, so yeah. so, like so. Just move it down. Okay, now we got our arrow. Let's see if it actually matches up. We should move it. Okay, awesome. It actually matches up. So I'm really glad it does. It would be a huge pain to correct it now. Okay, got my mouth dry from all the talking, so yeah, had to take a small sip. So for idle, we actually don't really want to have it shown anywhere, and we could also make them emissive, so we can see when our arrow is turned on and when it's not. So let's turn these colors on. Okay. So for idle, we actually want to have our arrow hidden, like so, and then we can duplicate it to do some other stuff. So we can perhaps name one turn, or let's not name it turn, but like to show a direction or something. Perhaps like moving, I guess. That would be, let's not forget our G. It also needs to be there. So our starting point is like completely dark. Then let's zoom out this animation timeline and let's see how many seconds we want. Probably 2 seconds. It should be completely visible. So we start from our body 0, and first we need to show our, and we're just gonna move them to like come. Why is this? It's acting like my shift is pressed, but it's actually not, so I don't know why I can't just quit this and retry. So well, that's weird. I can't move it for a smaller amount than 1 voxel, but I guess that's arguably fine. So okay, let's zoom out. So this should be, oh, and this one moves normally. Okay, now apparently I have no idea what's going on. So let's just, I guess, move them to full voxel, just so we don't spend too much time adjusting everything. So this is our first part, and now it's actually gonna stay stationary, so we can just do like this. And I have no idea why it does that. Can I? Yeah. I just need to put it back in place. I have no idea why it tries to like predict where I want to move it or something. But yeah. So let's see. Okay. Now let's go to body. Let's go to the next part. So up until this keyframe we don't want anything allows to move. We actually don't want to animate the body, but it doesn't want to delete the keyframe either. It's really wonky today. So next we want this to show up and the other one like so. And we also need to mark our final keyframes, and then let's just, oops, let's not select this one. So we can just readjust which position we want here so it doesn't like interpolate what we want to do. Okay, so we're done with, why is this linear? Which are you? AL2. AL2, so it's 2 out here. It's 2 out here. I have no idea why it does that, but it also doesn't allow me to select it, so yeah. Let's just move on. So for body 0, we first have our 2 lines, so now it's just some stuff on the keyframes. So we're done with our body 1 here, so we can put keyframes here. And then for the next part, we want to move our lines out a bit. And freeze that, of course. Like so. And I know we got a bit too many keyframes, but line just stay here. Second line also stays in place, and now let's just do the stuff for our AL1s. So it needs a keyframe here. You can't. Yeah, it's weird. So now it has to be 2 out, and then at the end it still has to be out, so yeah. And do the same for the other one. So AL1, move to here, it's out. If we select the correct axis, of course, to move it on, and then it still has to stay out. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, it could be a bit slower, but otherwise it's working fine. And now to the best part, it's for the tip. So let's see, number 8. Or actually the whole tip is gonna stay stationary, so let's add our keyframes, and now we need to move this one out and this one out. Okay. Awesome. And I guess we can correct all this stuff later, but let's just add keyframes here. For the next part, we want to move our T3 and T7 and add keyframes. Let's see. Yeah, it moves them back actually. So we got our T4 that needs readjustment, and T8, so these animations can be a bit tricky. Also, if somebody has some advice on how to make them better, please leave the idea in the chat, but I haven't figured out a better way, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just gonna have to stay with what we have. Okay. Add keyframes. Now summer, of course. Oh, come on, that's really annoying. I have to readjust everything every time. At least I can delete keyframes now. Okay, so now we got this, and for the last part we want to have our T0 out, T1 out. Well, we actually want to have all of them out, but okay, this one. Now you can see why I was a bit skeptical of how many nodes we actually need, because it creates a whole mess now. So let's see this. Okay. So which one is this? So it moves out and then it moves back in, which we don't want. What about this one? So it moves out, it stays out, it moves back in. We don't want that. Let's delete this and this. Okay. Any other troublemakers? So more, okay, this one is definitely gonna do its thingy, so let's delete. Nope, that's the incorrect keyframe actually. This one should be deleted, and let's see. Okay, we still got some stuff to work out, but otherwise, what's going on here? Oh, is this the bugged one? I think this one is bugged, right? If it is, so. Okay, so it shouldn't move inwards after. So it moves out and then it stays out. Okay. And now we just need to fix some other stuff, because of course it's not gonna work as intended. So let's see. Here we need, this one is good, this one is not. And the T8 also. So let's see. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, 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 and okay, we still need some adjustments, but it's more or less ready. Also, this one should move back. Also, it's our P8. Come on. Okay, let's see. Does this work now? God, I hope it does. Okay. And now if we want it to be really, I don't know, if we wanted some more work, we could actually try to animate it to turn dark again. But I don't think, at least for this stream, it would be too tedious, just animating stuff. So it shows the direction the person is supposed to take, so I think this is fine. So this is like moving, or I don't know. Yeah, that's the best name I could come up with. So yeah, let's also rename this to idle 01, and then we can perhaps add like some flickering, or perhaps idle should be with flickering, and I just duplicate it into like turned off or something, or off 01. I guess this is gonna be the actual turned off animation, and idle should probably be just here's the nice part with our segmentation. We can now just move everything out. We don't have to do it separately for each component, like so. So this is our idle right now, and we can add some flickering by moving voxels in and out, or more like moving our nodes. Now, so let's see. Let's select the whole arrow, and I don't think anything should move before, and it should end in the same state, so it looks nicely. So next we can perhaps make this one go in really quickly, and then how many? Let's zoom this like so. So this is like 3 frames, and then it takes 3 frames for it to get out. So let's see. Yeah, you can see some flicker. And we can do this with some other stuff. So it has more of like this neon feeling. Okay, again I can't delete. Maybe I can undo. No, I cannot. Okay. So perhaps we can do something with this. I just put it for like 2 frames and then back. And this is a pretty large part, so I don't want to keep it dark for too long. But it should be a bit later, I think. Oh crud, I can't even move them. What's going on? Okay, so let's... Which part of the arrow is this? Okay, so apparently today nothing is working as intended, but we'll have to just go along and still try our best to complete something in this stream. So there should be a keyframe here, and then if we move it like so, and then back, let's see now. Okay, we got some parts. Perhaps we could also make one of these and one of these flicker, and perhaps, yeah, of course it's not gonna work. We should try some other durations, so to say. So it's more random, I guess. So this one is gonna take like 3 frames to go in, and then just 2 frames to come out. Let's see. Okay. It might be a bit too aggressive though. Let's see if we can do something to make it like quad or something. I think this looks better, but I might be just biased. I don't know. So let's see. And then for the last part to animate, let's perhaps make this one. So we move it in. No, we don't want to move it in actually. We first want to create our keyframe and then move it in and then move it out to the 0. Awesome. And this is still working, even though it's showing a linear transition, but yeah. I'm not too sure about this one because it feels like it's too big. Okay, now I can delete keyframes. I have no idea how this is working, but okay, so this part is a bit too large, but yeah, I think I like it to be a bit asymmetric with its blinking. Yeah, so this is idle, we got off, and we got moving. I'm trying to think if we need some other animation, but for now I think we're done animating. It took some time. Also, arrow base, do we still need this? I don't think so. Can delete this, right? Everything is still working fine. That's always good to test if everything is still working. And now I'd just like to add some more details to our base. So if somebody comes close to inspect it, they can find some nice details, hopefully. So we turn on our mirrors, and these are gonna be like some screws or something. So what we're gonna use is some lighter. So it's like, I don't know, it's like the X shape or something. Yeah, let's let's not try to overanalyze what stuff here is, but yeah. So perhaps some maybe like so. I like it. And perhaps here the same, we can count 4, 3, 4. Although if we go with 4s, we should just make them symmetric from the mirror line, and we'll see where we end up at the sides. So this is 4, this is 4, this is 4 again, and another 4. Okay, and let's see how this turns out. 2, 3, 4. I think I want to do it here, even though it's not actually 4, but yeah, you get the idea. Okay, and so let's see, is this the same? This is this, okay. So let's try to make this even one shade darker, and so we can have some difference between them. Okay, and now let's try to add some highlights to the inner part, or should they be darker, like so? I don't like it as much. I think this suits it nicely, so we can do something like this for the corners, and then perhaps we can do just some smaller details here. Does this look? We can do the same, like it's not really mirrored, but it's on the same the same height or width, or they're just aligned well. That puts it best. Like these lines are aligned, but on the inside they're darker and on the outside they're lighter, so like so. Okay, so it gives our sign some dynamic, and I don't know if I want to do this. Is this too much? Let's see. It's something. It's definitely something. So I think it's fine. I'm not just too sure how. I guess the easiest way to approach it would be just to extend the whole thing by one and do the same thing on the side. So these are actually aligned, and then just do the same thing for our sides, and I think that there's not really much more that we can do with it. We could try to do something with the back side, though I'm not too sure anybody is even gonna look at the back side. Perhaps we can just do some quick outline for this part. So it's something like this, right? Or it's 3 thick and then it ends 1 under, so like so. And we're just copying our design. So 2, 1, 2, and then do it all the way across. Then let's just connect it with our small pieces. So on the 3. This isn't right? Why doesn't this align? Now I'm a bit baffled. So it has to end 1 under, which it does. Oh, it shouldn't have this part. Okay, my bad. Sure, so it should be like so. And then just add our thingies, and I think this is a pretty good result. We should just move our base down to 0, so it's actually centered, and let's, oh crap. Okay, so because we did all our animations and our keyframes are saved, we really need to just, luckily we just need to move our base, but we need to do this for all 3 animations, so it's not messed up. That's also another reason why it's good to test before you, or why you should replay all your stuff before you try to publish it or something. So we have the same problem again here. Luckily we don't have the ending node for our base, so we can just move it here and add a node, and it should be fine. Okay, this is good, and also our off needs to be moved down to 0, and then we can just add a second keyframe for all the nodes on the second frame of the animation, just so it doesn't bug if something happens in the animator. So I'm quite satisfied with this. So yeah, it took us 1 hour. That's pretty decent, but I think we can keep the stream going a little while longer. So let's move on to another project. We'll have to open file, projects, and it's yeah. I'm I managed to finalize it today, because these wheels take like an enormous time to just rename, because if we do some quick math, each wheel consists out of 10 parts, and this thing has 8 wheels, so we actually have to rename 80 parts with unique names, and it's it's a pretty big project just renaming everything. So I'm just gonna take a sip of my drink, and we can move on with our tank, because I'm pretty satisfied with the sign, and I still got some energy left for the stream, so yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I got my basic design laid out. You can also, if you're a fan of Star Wars, you can probably see it's kind of inspired by the clone turbo tank, though it has it's gonna have like some cannon on the top. They didn't have that, so yeah. Also, we really need to be careful with our wheels, because if we make like 10 faces, that's gonna be like 400 additional faces, because there's just so many parts of it. But I haven't really decided what to do with them, so we'll just do some sculpting for the beginning, and we'll see how far we get. So this is the like control cabin. Let's just downsize it a bit so we can actually work with it. And I think I wanna do some slopes on the side, because it makes sense as it deflects projectiles and stuff. So, and also just so it isn't purely made out of blocks. So we need to delete, and let's turn nice lines so we can see what we're actually doing. Okay, and now if we upscale it again, let's see how large this is. Okay, we can definitely delete another one, because I need to have a bit steeper slope. And we can also turn on our mirroring, like so. Okay. Okay, this is better. So I'm gonna add some faces for the side and for the front part. Now here on the back, I don't really think we need to change much. It's gonna be mostly just texturing, and also we need to figure out what kind of a cannon we wanna use. I kind of like, let me just search for, what is it called? It's the siege tank from StarCraft. I think they have pretty cool cannons, something like this. Let me just open the image and I'll show it to you. Something like this. So yeah, let's try to do something about that. So which part is this actually? Cannon people. Okay. So let's duplicate this. Nope, not edit. Let's duplicate, and let's name it like cannon barrel, I guess. So this is our actual thingy, and we can just downsize it a bit. we can't anymore because it's a 13 and that's not divisible by 2, but otherwise that's fine. And now let's just like add the barrel on it, and then we'll just delete this part. And also let's turn on our mirroring, and of course do the trick to get our shortcuts working. So let's see. Something like this for the outer margins, and then let's just make it a lot longer. It can probably be the same length as the base part. That doesn't seem too problematic. And then let's just carve out in the middle. 2, 3, 4, perfect. So it's gonna be like some kind of a rail gun or something. So it really doesn't have much stuff in the middle, but we can do some details on the sides. So it's gonna be, I think it can be really good. Let's see, like so. And let's delete that as well. Okay. We can also just like delete this now, since we have a basic idea of our shape and size. And also let's move our pivot point to the appropriate location. I guess this should be centered, right? Or not, because if we want to rotate it later, like adjust the inclination, I think what it's called. So let me move my hand to the proper position. So like we got our tank base, and if it moves up and down, I think it should be actually pivoted at the bottom, right? Because otherwise, if we pivot it at the top, well, if we pivot it at the bottom, okay, I can't really show it here, but I think this is correct, and we can change that later if it doesn't turn out how it's supposed to be. So let's create our can barrel. Can barrel, so add it here, and it's gonna be probably fun if it's turned the wrong direction, right? Okay. And we also need to upscale it, and we need to rotate it. So this isn't gonna rotate nicely, so we just need to. Okay, apparently this is the best it can do. And now let's just align it here. We can use our bounding boxes to see. So this is good, this is not good. This is good, okay, perfect. And then we can do something like this. That's pretty good. Should it be moved up or downwards? 8 is a bit high though, in my opinion. So let's move it down to 6. Okay. And now we can try to do some more stuff. Let's just have it in size. So apply our changes more easily, and it doesn't lag as much when these changes are applied. And also let's use our nice lines, because everything looks nicer and more clear with them. So how wide is this one? 2, 3, 6, and this is 7, right? Okay, so let's just put them to 8, and then perhaps we can do like make them a bit thicker here at the ends. So nope, let's use the fill tool, or what is it called? Create mode. I always forget. So this is 4. This is 2. We can probably do this mirroring thing. So also let's perhaps try to move everything out a bit. Like so. Just to create some more face. I don't know, do I want to add anything here at this point? Perhaps make this a bit longer though. Like do more. Something like this. And if we upscale it now and check it out, I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so I'd like to make some side slopes for the cabin. Here we have this ridge, but thanks Sandbox game. So let's make this. So what do we want to call that? Cabin side 0. Okay, we haven't used that name. That's good news. Some good news. Otherwise, it can be really tricky to name stuff if you actually don't pay attention to it, and you just try to name everything the same way. So, and now we don't really know how tall this has to be because it's gonna be like skewed, or we'll have to rotate it, and it takes a bit longer. I mean, if we just take this length, it's not gonna be enough. I can guarantee that at least. So let's just delete the other part. Okay. And fill this in, trim our volumes. And pivot point can be here. I think that's just fine. And we didn't upscale it, right? But just go ahead and do that as well. So 1, 2. I think this should be about right now. So we need to create a child node. Let's name it cabin side 0. Okay, awesome. Where are you? Okay. 48. And move it up a bit. So, like so, to 16. And then we just rotate and we'll see how much we have to delete. Okay, this is too much already. So just some nice slope. Just so everything isn't completely boxed up. And now let's see. We probably have to cut it somewhere here. Something like this. And we'll see how the intersection turns out to be. Okay, trim. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, we can't really move it much further, so why can't we do 355? 355? Okay, awesome. And let's just do the same thing for the other side, but that's not gonna work, I think, because we'll have to trim some here to compensate for the front part. So let's just go ahead and duplicate this to cabin side 1. Create a child node. Also, yeah, we can. I just realized that we'll probably have to duplicate the side again once we make our adjustments, but just for the sake of making our node stand appropriately, I think there is not really a big deal. No, we need to mirror it so it can be used on the other side. Let's move it to 48. Come on, okay, and to 16 if I remembered correctly. And okay, so we got our two sides. Our faces are currently still looking good. And now for the front part, we basically do the same thing as we did with the sides. Let's also just save, just in case something bad happens. So cabin side, or it can be just cabin front. Cabin front should be free. That's good. That's good. Okay. So now let's downscale it. Turn on our lines and then just let's move our pivot point first. It actually works great, so we don't forget moving it, but it can be quite annoying at the beginning. Delete this. Delete this. Delete this. I think something like this, but we can we'll have to readjust later so everything fits nicely together. So let's create another child node for our base, which is going to be cabin front. Who would have thought, right? So cabin front, move it to the front, of course. 128, sure, and then up to 16, and then okay, and now we can see that we have a bit of overlap, and also we can just check how tall these ones are. So it's 81, and we can just do the same for the cabin front because yeah, they're the same height. At least I think so. Okay. So now we need to figure out which parts of the cabin side we need to delete to keep to get rid of this overlap. So okay, we need to start here, and let's see. How long is this? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Can do some more, like 10. Or even 12. And then we can do same thing here. 4, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it can be a bit tedious to do this because you have to count on your fingers basically. It's not, there is no like a ruler or something that would just straight up tell you. So this is 7, 8. Okay. So we're still good, right? And then again, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And I just have a feeling like I miscounted one of them. We'll have to. I'll probably do it off stream because that's gonna be really boring to watch. 2, 3, 4. Like so, and then for our last part, how many is this? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sure, and then just let's delete this. Trim, move out, and check it out. And I don't think it overlaps anywhere. Cool. So now we get to the part that I was talking about, where we have to delete the cabin side 1 and reduplicate this again. So we can use it on the other side, but luckily we have our node already set, so we can just put this here, and yeah, that's for that. And now I'm just thinking if the cabin front should have like some more width on this part, but I don't think that's really necessary. It can be added later though, if it turns out to be a necessity. Now I don't really have a plan for these wheels. I'd like them to have some covers or something, and also I think we're gonna need another axle, because if we add covers to them we'll need different axles for smaller wheels and for larger wheels. So this one is gonna be axle 0, and then let's just duplicate this and name this axle 1. Which might be premature again, because we should probably do our first axle first, so we get a bit of a feeling how large these covers have to be. So let's just do this X. Oops. Oh yeah, that's about correct, but it's a bit too much though. Or I don't know. 48 maybe. Move it in the middle. Is it in the middle? I have no idea. So let's do 48 here. Again, let's just spam. Oops, that's the wrong way. Okay, something like this. Let's just see where our mirror lines intersect. Okay, so this one is off by 1 and this one is off by 2. I think this is good now. And so yeah, everything works fine. So now let's see, we could downscale this a bit to make everything more easy to work with. So let's try something like this, just slowly filling out the shape that I think might be appropriate for our wheels. Maybe like so. Let's just add one more, and then we can, oops, check what it looks like. Okay, if we upscale it by 2, so does this actually fine? It does look surprisingly fine, actually. I don't think we need to do much more work here, and it's also great that it really doesn't take many faces, and now it does even less. So awesome. Let's just mirror it here, do it like so, upscale. That's basically it for the Excel 0. Now for the Excel 1, we first have to delete the old one because we got a bit ahead of ourselves, and now let's duplicate it again. Now we have Excel 1, and this one is probably just gonna have another layer on top, and that's it. So let's downscale it again. Let's turn on our lines, and there. Let's move our pivot up and down so we can use our keyboard shortcuts. Okay. Oops, let's scale it first. And now we need to replace the back to axles with this new one. Okay, and I think it's actually again looking just fine, especially for the number of faces we've used, so that's really good. Let's see, is there something else that I really want to add to the model, or can we move to do some texturing? I think for the most part this is it, so let's go ahead and start texturing or coloring or whatever you want to call it. So we could start with the wheels. Let's start with the small ones because they're a bit easier to work with. So here, I need to think a little bit. So on the outer planes, you really don't want to do that much because it can easily overlap. I can just do a quick example. Okay, that's the same color, but if I just do something like this, I hope that's the, of course that's the inner side, so that's not gonna show up. So let's just turn on our mirror. I think now it should show up. Okay, and you can just see that, yeah. Just no, just don't do it. They should be, they're basically at the same, which axis is this? On the same x-axis, and they just overlap, and it causes issues, so no. That's a no. Don't want to do that. We could, however, make them slightly darker, like some kind of tires or something, and what we can do is add some like profile, so maybe like this, and it's just gonna be on the outer side. And now let's think about it. This is like 20 long, so let's see. If I do it 9 and 1, I can do like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here another 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another here, and there's 5, and then let's just add some texturing. So it has like some profile on the tires, so they, I guess, aren't as slippery or something. Yeah, that's good, that's good. And it should hopefully look fine once we zoom out. Okay. And it's just facing the wrong way. Okay. That's a minor problem. We can just flip it. And oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Let's just move these lines on the other side. That's gonna be a better fix. I could also move the pivot point, but yeah. And I have no idea why I'm not using the line tool. So, like so. I hope this is right now. Okay, this is the right way. Awesome. We can also make them one shade darker just to make some transitions in between, like so. And then we can do some stuff like this. This is, I guess, the most basic part, just to add some more shadow. But we can do as well like some V-shapes, which would hopefully increase the friction between the tire and the surface. And I'm just trying to figure out if it's fine that these are not actually aligned, and I think there shouldn't be a big problem, unless so this is too under, so this is gonna have to be like so. Let's see if this works. I'm really curious. I don't think it looks bad. Kind of hides the whole shape, but it could use a bit different profile. I don't like this one as much as I hoped to. So perhaps we can do something like this. Maybe it's like so, because there's an odd number of the voxels in between, and if we do something like this, this is 3 off here and this is 3 off there. So now we do these two, right? And then this part here. And then this is a 3 below. So like this and like this. Let's see now what the wheels look like. Okay. I think they're pretty fine looking wheels. So these are the smaller ones, and now we just need to do something similar for the bigger ones. So let's see real big, and perhaps we can actually use one on the actual wheel, so we can see the direction that we wanna use. So this was like 2, right, indented for the line, and now this one is 22, so we can just do 5 at the bottom. Let's see, how did this start? So, and 5 from the top. And now there should be a 10 in between, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, perfect. Perfect, I can still do math. And now let's add some shades like we did before. And it's also much easier to do this stuff once you have a rough idea of what exactly you're doing. Like so. And I'll just do this profile, which is turned the wrong way, right? It should be like so. It should be like so. 3. Okay, so this is gonna be just here. And this is gonna be even 1 voxel lower. Let's see. Okay. So this looks pretty good now. I mean, we can safely say that these are wheels. And also, I think I'd like to make these plates a bit taller, or taller, the whole thing a bit wider, just so the wheels don't stick out as much. So we had 120, so it's like 6, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then just add some more thickness, and that's more or less it, right? Let's just check if our pivot is in the middle. It is. Okay, and we can also do some other tricks with this, and we also another thing, we didn't do it for the axle one, so let's just go ahead and do that so we don't forget. Okay, so when you're doing like centering here, you can turn on actually your pivot point and just move the stuff in the direction you want, and once it intersects or lands on the mirror plane, you know that it's in the middle, right? Okay, so the same thing has been done for the larger wheels, and now I think we can just do some darker shades for, I guess, for some shadows and stuff. So let's just use our plane fill. So these are definitely gonna get filled, and I can just turn this on because it's a symmetric asset. And also we forgot to trim our volumes, right? Okay. And we can do some nice rounder shapes here once we get going. Okay, let's also do them like really dark, so we have some color space actually for doing some smoothing or rounder shapes or stuff. So let's see, how do we want to approach this? Come on, like so maybe, and then 6, like so, and then let's see, maybe 2. So we actually got a pretty nice round shape here in the middle. It could be a bit better, like so. Maybe start rounding it here already, and then let's do like another 2. 2, 2. here we have 3, here we only have 2, so I think this looks pretty round, right? Maybe one more, but it just feels like an overkill, though it's alright. Okay, let's check it out. Is this? Okay, so we should check it on this side actually. And since these wheels are pretty thick, we can actually extend this up so it's completely filled, and we get some circular shape going on from the wheels actually. So let's turn on our lines. Let's also make this thing a bit bigger. I kind of regret trimming it now. Like so. We can use our pivot to help us center this thingy, or we can just, you know, we extended it by 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the wrong direction. That's also the wrong axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Like so, and then we can do this, just add more. So how much do we need? I mean, it's really no problem making it wider because it doesn't add any new faces, so yeah, just as long as it stays inside the bounds. And also let's say 1, 2, this 3, and that's good. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this should be mostly inside, right? Okay. Here we can also see that it's not perfectly centered, right? Should be. Oh no, but that's some trouble. Let's see. If I move it one up, is this right? If I move it 2, it's bad again, right? It's too much for the other side. Okay, so this is actually correct one. So 31, let's check all the others. Because they have been just duplicated, it's the same problem. At least I think so. I hope it's centered now. I really hope it is. Let's put this up one more, and we can see that it didn't duplicate everything. So let's save this, go back to our Excel, and then just I3R and just click it, and now it's better. And do the same for this side. Okay, we have some other uncolored stuff, so now let's just try to, nope, let's just do this. So this is like the middle part. So if let's see, this is definitely centered now. You can see it here, and this is hopefully as well. So if we move it to 0, yeah, I mean it's this is easier because you know the width of this part, but you don't really know the final height. So yeah, I think we got it centered now, or I really hope so. And now what we can do is just use some, let's see, just do some anti-aliasing here so it looks a bit smoother, like so. And maybe can, which shade is this? Okay, Maybe we can do like a smaller circle inside, just because. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 6 by 4. So now it's 6 by 6. I just extend it out like 2 more. And now let's try to make it circular. I don't know which one's better. I think we should just do like another one, like so. I think this looks pretty good. And I could again do this thingy, or I can just fill this in. So they match in this like one shade, second shade, third shade. And now we're gonna use the fourth shade, which was the base previously, to make this a bit more aliased. And I think this would hopefully look good once we zoom out. Yeah, it gives it some 3D effect, I think. I hope. And it also just makes the wheels look better. And now I guess we can just try to do the same thing for the back ones, and then we'll slowly conclude today's stream, because we've done some stuff, and there is really not much point in overworking ourselves. So this one has to be a bit bigger. This might be a bit too big, but yeah, let's just zoom in this part. So 33, if I move it, it actually changes, so we need to move it to 32, right? 32, and 24, it's like 8 wanted. Okay. And I think it's useful to have this smaller shape to start with our outward circle, but later on it's useful to extend it just so we have everything covered up. So let's see which part is the middle here. So this is the middle part. Oh, okay. Something like this. 2. Is this good? We'll see. It might need to be changed a bit here, but otherwise. Now I'm baffled again. 3. Oh, just like so. So 2 and then 3, and then just finish it like. And it's actually not really problematic. I think that we have like some diagonal here. I think it looks fine. Now let's extend this out. It's 2 enough. Let's do 3 just for a good measure, just to be sure. And of course we're gonna need some stuff here, some stuff here, and now let's just cover this up. How large does it have to be? We can just do this, right? Just here and here. And I think this isn't perfectly centered either. And we also need some stuff here on the side because we have this shape. Now let's just do our guidelines for the so we can check if it's centered, and I can already pretty much see that it. Wait, is it or isn't it? Huh. Okay, we'll check that later. We first need to do the wheel or the cover part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and then just spam this 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay. So this is done. Now let's see. Is this centered or is it not? So this is definitely worse. Okay, so here it's fine. And I think this is off because it should be 11, right? It's 22, yep. Okay, so let's move all of our wheels one back. So this centering is a bit of a pain because you might just realize you centered incorrectly. Okay. Now let's color this in. So, like so. Add our anti-aliasing parts. They could just be called like AI parts, but some people might misunderstand that and confuse it with artificial intelligence. So, yeah. Okay, so we need our third color, and now we need to figure out how large is our cover, or whatever the lighter circle is supposed to be. Let's see what the diameter here is. 1, 2, or radius. Let's just count down the radius, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can make it 8 by 8, right? We just need to find the middle point around which it's let's see. Okay. So this is 6 by what, 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and if we add one more here, yeah, but it's, oh, it has 7, so this one has to be actually 16 by 16. So we got our middle point here, and now let's just count outwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, something like this. And now we can just color some stuff in. So 4, something like this. I don't like it. This is better. Okay, this is a good circle. Oh my god. Okay, we need this color now to just add some stuff. Also, does this look better or worse? That's a good question. Also, what if we do just like so? I think this looks best, and I'm actually gonna do the same thing for front ones as well, because yeah, that's just how we roll. And also I glanced at the time, and we're basically at 2 hours since we started a bit early today. So yeah, after this, this is more or less what we managed to do today. We managed to color our wheels, do some of the cabin work, and I think I might actually leave this asset for the next week, just because some people might find it interesting, at least more interesting than animating bloody signs. So yeah, this is the second thing we managed to, or this is actually the first thing, and yeah. So we got some good work done. I'm really glad with what we managed to accomplish. I hope whoever stick till the end also got something away from the stream. And I guess we see each other probably the same time next week. So have a great morning, day, evening, night, or whatever time it is at your place, and yeah, bye.